The Jewish story can only be understood within the context of God's promise to Abraham that he and his children will live in covenantal relationship with God ultimately on the land of Israel. "V'hakimoti et briti beini uvenecha uvein zaracha acharecha ledoratam livrit olam li'ol lecha le'Elohim u'zaracha acharecha v'natati lecha u'zaracha acharecha et eretz migurecha et kol eretz Canaan." Yet for us, faithfully living a life dedicated to this relationship is often a challenging endeavor. We are not and cannot always have our mind on such a lofty goal, and this makes it challenging to consciously and intentionally fulfill the counsel of Melech Shlomo b'chol derachecha da'ehu, to integrate all of our experiences and all parts of ourselves into our relationship with our Maker. The Tanakh brings many examples of this struggle, and one cautionary tale in Sefer Bereshit is that of Lot. Initially part of the covenantal journey with his uncle Abraham, we see Lot opt to leave the land of the covenant to dwell in the Jordan Valley. The sages see a man driven by desire for material wealth and a more permissive culture drift from the larger narrative of covenant. Vayisa Lot Mikedem, says the verse, and the Midrash on that verse sees Lot removing himself from God. In this week's Parasha, we see a similar story. Like Lot, the tribes of Gad and Reuven express a desire to settle on the other side of the river Jordan. Like Lot, their desire for material wealth, the best land for their abundant flock, drives them outside of the promised land. Given that this account is at the conclusion of the journey in the wilderness, the whole purpose of which was to reach the land of Israel, this request is shocking. As with Lot, the sages see this as an act of separating themselves from the people, and to an extent, from the covenant itself. Their separation caused them to be exiled first. In this case, it's particularly curious that Moshe, who led the people from Egypt to Israel, does not rebuke them for this particularly brazen lack of appreciation for the land. And there is a significant aspect to consider here. It's not merely the challenge of incorporating all aspects of ourselves into the framework of our relationship with God which is at play. What is equally striking is the ease with which we can deviate from that path, often without any grand spectacle or noticeable resistance. Surprisingly, decisions that we intellectually know take us away from God can appear emotionally mundane. After all, what's wrong with desiring better land? This subtlety of deviation warrants our attention and reflection, and these cautionary tales possess great relevance and provide valuable reminders for us today, especially in a culture dominated by the desire to gratify personal drives. They extend an invitation for personal growth and renewal, gently nudging us to realign ourselves with the bigger picture. Shabbat Shalom.